Alright, what's going on YouTube? It's Doomnyc here again with another deck doctor. This time it is a machina deck by Eggowaffles98. I know it's a little bit late. You did say you wanted to take this to, I believe, regionals, but unfortunately, I'm trying to catch up to these deck doctors. So, this is a machina build that he sent me and I fixed up a little bit. So let's get started. First off, we've got two Ancient Gear Gadgetrons. Obviously, you're going to get this out with your Gear Towns whenever that happens. Blackluster Soldier. This is like a really, really big card in your deck. Can actually win you a lot of games. You should definitely play it. The deck plays 5 lights and 5 darks. So, to me, that is like the perfect consistency for running Blackluster Soldier. So you should definitely think about it. Next up, we've got 1 Caius. I don't like 2 Caiuses in this deck. I've played Caius in machina decks before, and only to find out that I draw it dead a lot. So to fix that problem, you just have to take it down to 1, and it'll come in handy when you need it. So that's one of the main things in this deck, because this deck can draw dead a lot if you don't know how to build it properly. So that's what I'm trying to do here by running just 1 Caius. Triple Cyber Dragon. I mean, you're running machinas, and you gotta love the fact that you run big machines, so you can bring Fortress out pretty easy. But again, Cyber Dragon's gonna be game breaking. Not to mention, games 2 and 3, your opponent's gonna be siding in Cyber Dragon once they see you're playing machines. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you always have that Cyber Dragon waiting in your hand, so that in the event that they summon their Cyber Dragon and it stays on the field, or they summon a card trooper or something, you can like special summon like crazy, go for Gadgetron Dragon and Fortress in the same turn, or Gear Frame and get Fortress both on the field at the same time, and use their Cyber Dragon to, So again, Cyber Dragon is going to be really good, and plus we want to have 5 lights in the deck, so that's why the Cyber Dragon is at 3. 1 Glow Up Bulb. You do have an extra deck for a reason, and honestly, you don't play enough fusions or exceeds to actually be able to capitalize on the stuff you have in the deck. So what I did was I added in 1 tuner, Glow Up Bulb. If you don't have a Glow Up Bulb, no fret. In the extra, we're playing a Naturi Beast, because you can get that with Glow Up and Machina Gear Frame. But if you don't have a Glow Up, you can always exchange this for an Unknown Synchron. It's a machine, and it has that special summon effect, and then you can take out the Naturi Beast and put in another level 5 like Android or something, or Hyper Librarian like you're playing. So but I think the Glow Up Bulb is really good, especially being able to use it twice. So again, that's really good. Got the 1 Gores. Obviously, this is not a trap format, so Gores is extremely good this format. No Tragodias in the deck, and here's the reason why. First off, most of the time, if you bring out Cyber End, he's 4,000 attack, so a lot of times if you're drawing Tragodias when you have Cyber End on the field, that's going to be a problem. You're going to be pretty much drawing dead, because they're not going to be dealing you any damage. More times than not, they'll be setting monsters. So Tragodia just doesn't seem that good to me. And then you weren't really playing any tuners, so again, it just wouldn't have been good for the deck. Triple Machina Fortress and Triple Gear Frame, that's your Machina engine. We got the 3 Malefic Cyber Ends. Again, Malefic Cyber End and Gadgetron are just awesome, because they can be discarded 1 card for your Fortress that's in the grave. So that's really good. 2 Thunder Kings. This is going to wrap up the lights in the deck. If you want to go for another approach, instead of the Thunder Kings, you can run the 2 Veilers, but I'd rather side deck that and play Thunder King, because Thunder King is just so good this format. So that's 20 monsters. Let's go on to the spells. We're going to start off with Big Bang Shot. If you've played Malefics, then like I've played a couple Malefic decks for a little while, and I realized that once you have Cyber End on the field, pretty much if your opponent's not holding Dark Hole in their hand or, you know, some type of trap card to remove this, they're just going to be setting monsters continuously, and then on top of that, those games that you run into that Spirit Reaper, it's going to be a real big pain. So, Big Bang Shot's really, really good. Equip it to your Cyber End, and then just go off, and you're going to deal lots and lots of damage really fast, and the game will be over really quick. So, I definitely recommend you play one of those. Dark Hole Staple. 2 Lance. You are playing Lance in the deck, and I think it's awesome for the deck. It's a phenomenal card. Keep playing the 2 Lance. Triple Gear Town, obvious. You want to be able to have this on the field always. Heavy Storm, Limiter, Monster Reborn. I think those are all staples. 2 MSTs. 1 Avarice. Now, playing Machinas as much as I did, I realized how good Pot of Avarice was. A lot of times, if you don't draw, like, you know, if you don't draw like the big monsters, then you have to discard Fortress and a Gear Frame or Fortress and a Cyber Dragon to get out, to get Special Summon Fortress to the field. So whenever that happens, you're going to be throwing a lot of your stuff in the grave, and you know, especially with the Cyber Dragons, and you know, when these things get destroyed, the Gadgetron Dragons and the Malefic Cyber Ends, you definitely want to be able to put them back in your deck so you can get off more special summons. Pot of Avarice is definitely going to help with that. We got the Terraforming. This, it wasn't in your deck, but needs to be in your deck. I mean, seriously. You run the Triple Gear Town, and if you've played this deck enough, you know that there are hands, or there are times when you draw just straight big monsters like Malefics and Gadgetrons and like traps or spells that can't help you. Doesn't give you any defense, and what ends up happening is your opponent keeps beating your face down. But if you had Gear Town, things would have been a little bit different. So we got the 1 Terraforming in there just to help out with that. For the traps, I got 2 Fiendish Chain. Again, I run this because this trap card is pretty awesome. It's like a effect veiler in a trap form. So again, you don't have to run this. You can run, instead of Thunder Kings, you can put the veilers in. What's even better is if you run Fiendish Chain and the veilers, because then most of the time to get rid of these guys, your opponent's going to be using monster effects. So the Fiendish Chain is going to help you a lot. Put this in your deck. We got the 1 Solemn, Starlight Road, obvious to protect these guys. 1 Torrential and 1 Trap Dust Shoot. That's the main deck. The side is pretty simple. Crows, veilers, 2 Maxis. If you don't have this, you can take this out and put in something else. I really don't know what to put in, but you know, Maxi is just really good right now. 2 Smashings, really, really good for this deck, especially when you run into Spirit Reaper. 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 Dark Bribe, and this is probably going to be the card that you side into the most, because honestly, this deck does have problems when it comes to spell cards. So my suggestion is you side in double Dark Bribe. It'll help you negate stuff that you really don't want to see, those pesky Monster Reborn, stuff like that. We got the 3rd Fiendish Chain in the side decks. Card's just too good. And then 2 Warnings. I know you didn't have Warning at the time you made your video, but the Warnings are supers now, so you should be able to get them pretty cheap. For the extra, we got double Chimera Tech, triple Cyber End Dragon, of course, Catastor, Ancient Fairy, of course, because you play field spells, Black Rose, Bryonic, Naturia Beast, Scrap Dragon, triple Stardust Dragon, and the only reason I say that you play this is because 1, you do play Starlight Road, and 2, because you got the Glow Up, and then you have a bunch of level 7s like the Gores and the Machina Fortresses. Stardust Dragon is going to be your best friend in this deck. And finally, we've got the Trishula. It's a little difficult to get out, actually, with this deck. I mean, you could get it out with the Glow Up, the Gear Frame, Thunder King, or 2 Gear Frames, you know. But it is possible, so it's there. So, Eggowaffles98, I hope you like this deck. Leave your comments down below, guys. And until next time, YouTube, peace.